Hey everybody, this is Bruce Heyer with Outdoor Flicks. Today's episode of Special Sauce is about color correction. Now, color correction is one of those things, like sound design, that makes the difference between a good production and a great production. Now, what is color correction? Well, the name itself suggests there must be something wrong, that something needs to be corrected. Sometimes it is for fixing things, like bad exposure or color balance. But most importantly, it's about taking good shots and making them great. Not too long ago, color correction was the exclusive domain of high-end color houses. But now, the tools are readily available to just about anybody who wants to learn more about this part of video production. Much like audio mixing, to be effective with color correction, your monitor needs to be accurate. Most monitors nowadays are pretty decent, but if you can, get a calibrator like this X-Rite Color Monkey I'm using here. Then you'll know that your work should look right on other screens besides yours. This demo is obviously sped up. The whole process takes 10 or 15 minutes, and you should recalibrate periodically. Okay, so we're using the color workspace here inside Premiere. This is what they set up to make best use of the Lumetri color panel over here on the right. So at the top of the panel is, appropriately enough, basic correction. This is where if you shot with the log setting on your camera, you would select that right now. We shot this in S-Log 2, and you can see what happens. It fattens it up a little bit. Then you've got basic adjustments like your white balance. If you've got something that's a neutral gray inside your shot, you can click on it with the white balance eyedropper right here, and it balances for that neutral gray. Exmark was kind enough to put a neutral gray on all of their big lawnmowers to make our job easier. I know they did that just for us. So anyway, next are the tone controls. This is an easy way to improve your shots right off the bat. You have exposure, which is not a problem here. You have contrast. You can bump it up a little bit, but there's a better way to do that actually. Highlights, you want to make sure your highlights are under control. Shadows, if they're too deep, again, this is perhaps better fixed elsewhere. This is a great place to pull down the whites in case they're too blown out. That's a prime example of amateur videography, is when your whites are blown out. And you have saturation, which we don't want to do too much with that. We'll come back to that in a little while. Okay, so next thing we have creative adjustments here, which include looks. We're going to come back to that later. That's something we don't use a whole lot of, but anyway, this is if you needed to sharpen your image, sharpening is in here too. And then we come down to curves. Now, if you've worked in Photoshop at all, you're familiar with this, or you're probably familiar with it. It's simple and it's intuitive. Dark tones are down here to the left, light tones up here to the right, and you can do a lot with this right here. Simple S curve, like this right here, all of a sudden you've got a lot more pop in your shot. See what it looks before, after. Next are the hue and saturation curves, which is the new thing in here. It's similar to secondaries in that you can pick particular tones. Like, let's say we don't like this guy's skin tone. We can change that a little bit. Click there, click here. It shows you on the tone curve where it is. And then you can, now he's green, now he's redder. So we can make a slight adjustment to him right here without being obnoxious about it. So you can see before he's green, after we pinked him up a little bit. So we go on down, we have color wheels and color matching. Now I want to show you something more about this in a little bit. Next is secondaries. We use this a lot at Outdoor Flicks, mainly to make sure that the signature colors of our clients are accurate from shot to shot. So to use secondaries, first you want to select the color that you're going to correct. So you take your eyedropper, you click, in this case we're going to do it on Exmark Red. If you've got different tonalities, you can pick the plus eyedropper and add to it. You can see how the sliders have moved as you do that. Now if you want to see on exactly what that mask is, Click like there on the color gray. And now you can make adjustments to see what is getting adjusted and what's not. Now, here are flowers over there on the right are getting it, and the dude up on the mower is getting it too. So I really don't want that much. I want to keep this a bit more under control to the red. So we're going to do that, pull this down. Now, you want to refine it here. It takes a little bit of blurring so that the edges aren't too well defined. The denoiser is one of those things that doesn't do a whole lot. So here we are. Now we make our adjustments down here with this you can do either 3 wheels and adjust just particular parts, shadow areas, midtones, and highlights, or you can do a global change like I'm going to do right here and pull these things down a bit, push some red onto them, and then if you need to change the temperature a little bit, you can do that as well. So here we have before, kind of dull, after, got some pop. Okay, I said I would come back to the color match section. Now this is a pretty neat thing. If you're shooting, say for instance, an interview or something like that with 2 cameras, you've got one view here and then you've got the second view there. You want to make sure that these cameras have the same, they look the same, and sometimes they don't. So the color match comparison view gives the opportunity to have a reference shot on the left and to match the shot on the right to it. And it's pretty simple. You just basically hit the apply match button, and it even takes into account faces and flesh tones. Okay, and lastly we have looks. Now we don't use looks very often, but they are an easy way to quickly make stylistic changes to your footage. This is where you can establish a mood with a warm tint or a filmic look or a gritty, contrasty feel, even black and white. So that's our lesson on color correction and a snippet on how we do things here at Outdoor Flicks. Now if you like this video, please like it or subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for the next lesson in special sauce.